Calendly makes it easy to schedule a meeting with anyone, anytime, anywhere by simply sharing a link. You create one meeting request and everyone chooses from a list of times you're available. Calendly knows when you're available because it integrates securely with your calendars. Everyone picks a time slot, Calendly locks in the meeting, and it magically shows up on their calendars. Change your mind? Rescheduling is just as easy as scheduling. Calendly handles all of your bookings, reminders, and follow-ups, so you can go right to the good part. Good things happen when people connect, and Calendly makes that easy. Calendly, easy ahead.
Welcome back to the Customer Success Festival. Before we get going with the next helping of inspiring content, we'd love to take a moment to thank our sponsors for helping us bring this event to your screens. And don't forget, you can access even more content from exclusive articles and interviews to all the past and future events on demand, as well as templates and frameworks by becoming a CSC member. Enjoy the next session.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Customer Success Festival. So today we're joined here by Jeff Hardison, who is the Head of Product Marketing at Calendly. Before we get started, I'd like to encourage everyone to please let us know where you're from in the chat box. This way we know the chat is working and we know you're all engaged. Jeff will also be answering some of your questions at the end of the session, so make sure to post those there. So without further ado, I'll hand you over to Jeff.
Hey everybody, thanks Alex for having me. Super excited to be here. And I'm going to pull up my slides here. Okay, can you see my slides? Awesome.
Yep.
I am Jeff Hardison, and I am Head of Product Marketing and Content. And you might say, what does a product marketer know about customer success? In past lives, working for smaller startups where you have to wear multiple hats, I got to do customer success. And a lot of the tips that I'm going to be giving you today were things that I actually used handling customer success. But the main focus of this presentation is going to be how customer success pros can lead the new product-led growth movement. First off, though, many of you maybe don't know about Calendly. We are a scheduling platform. So sales teams, marketing teams, customer success teams, and more, 10 million users use Calendly to be able to reduce the back and forth of trying to find a time to meet. Does 2 o'clock on Friday work? Does 4 o'clock on Thursday work? Nope, sorry, I'm on vacation. Calendly tries to reduce a lot of that, but if you've used Calendly, you know that it's more than just kind of that simple scheduling link that you've probably received before. There's also team-based scheduling for, say, like a webinar with a group, or say you're a sales team and you want to do a round robin, or say you want to meet with a sales engineer and yourself as a customer success person on the call at the same time with Collective. And one of the things that we have used to grow along the way is something that they call product-led growth. These are a number of different companies right here that have used product-led growth to really generate revenue and grow users. But what people don't know as much about is that we also have customer-facing teams, sales teams and customer success teams that help not only make sure that these customers who sign up for free get all their questions answered and make sure they understand how to use the product and get value out of it, but also upgrade and retain and so forth. Now, a lot of our growth has happened from kind of this word of mouth that happens on, say, like Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn, which you see right here. But we also use the product itself to grow. And so a lot of times people say, like, what does this buzzword product-led growth mean? What does PLG mean? And to us, what it is it's using the product itself to attract customers. And then once you're in the product, encourage them to use the product. And then they might hit some type of gate, like they want to use like our round robin feature. And it will say, all right, if you want to use that, you need to upgrade with a credit card. And then also the product can help you kind of renew and refer to others, Calendly, right? Now, conversely, traditional software companies often solely rely on the sales team or the customer success team and marketing for these kind of things, right? So for example, when I say attracting customers, 20 years ago, you didn't use the product to do that. You would use sales and marketing to do that. 20 years ago, if you wanted to get somebody to try out the product, try different features and so forth, you would rely on your customer success pros and marketing. Third, if you wanted to get somebody to upgrade, they wouldn't just put their credit card in like it was e-commerce. They would talk to customer success or sales to upgrade. And then last, if you were wanting to renew, you would have to talk to customer success. And so a lot of the PLG movement has said, hey, what if we don't have as many sales and customer success people and marketing people, and we use the product itself to do some of this? Now, there are some advantages to PLG. It focuses you on making a great product. So instead of relying on your customer success team, once a salesperson sells the software, to onboard the person, maybe via Zoom, or to check in and see why you're not using the feature and so forth. The argument is that you can use the product itself to do that, right? And so you'll get lower customer acquisition costs. You won't have to hire a lot of staff, and you'll be much more accessible to a lot of people since you won't have to rely on humans. That's the argument. But what's funny, and I bet many of you know this as customer success pros working in PLG companies, is that at some point, PLG will hit a ceiling, okay? And this forces the PLG company to go up market. So Slack has done this, Asana has done this, and nearly every PLG company hits some type of ceiling where maybe it's like 20 million in revenue, maybe it's 100 million in revenue, and they start to hire more sales and customer success pros to help them go up market, meaning help them sell to bigger enterprises who are accustomed to working with customer success pros, right? And this ends up being an interesting dynamic because you have kind of the product-led growth culture of the company that has relied on the product, and maybe the employees aren't accustomed to working with sales and CS. And now you have all these new sales and CS people that have joined, and they're used to people listening to them, okay? And once you go up market, there's a great opportunity. You all know this. You can be able to sell larger deals. There's greater retention if you start to add humans to the mix and you're selling to larger companies. And for us, it's been amazing. So we got to more than 75 million in annual revenue, largely with a pretty small sales team. It was just a handful of people and a handful of customer success people. But then we knew that we wanted to sell to larger companies and that there would be IT pros in those larger companies, VPs of sales, VPs of customer success, who would want to talk to a human. And so we've greatly increased over the last year our customer success team, as well as our sales team to help with this. And we think the combination of product-led growth and humans is where the love really happens for customers. So a couple things that I've learned from my colleagues in customer success that I've experienced myself that helps when you're working in a product-led growth company is the following. So the first thing is this. One of the greatest strengths you have as a customer success pro is that you are on the front lines, just like your colleagues in sales. So you're talking to customers and you're hearing about where they're struggling. You're hearing about feature requests they have in a way that product management and product marketing and so forth don't necessarily hear unless they do a survey or a qualitative interview. But you have these regular check-in points with your customers where you can start to hear this kind of qualitative feedback. And what I recommend you do is start to really not only just put it in Salesforce or CRM that like, hey, they asked for this feature, but start to really kind of create like a document around how to keep track of it, okay? Because the reason is this. Oftentimes in product-led growth companies, and even in sales-led companies, you'll see that product teams, whether it's product marketing or product management, will look to say, hey, we only have about 3% of our customer base is using this feature, right? And this might be out of 1 million customers. Because you're talking to customers all the time, that this feature is used maybe by like your 10 largest customers. So it's only 3%, but it's a major part of the revenue, and these are very important customers, right? And you can be able to be that voice for these VIP customers. Now, one of the things you can do is you can be able to reach out to these customers and say, hey, you requested this admin feature in our last call. How about we do like a Zoom call where I interview you? And this is something product management and product marketers do all the time, but you can do as a customer success pro. Why don't I interview you about your problem, your use case, and so forth? And then you can capture that recording and be able to write up in a report for the product team. So often I see customer success pros get all this great feedback, and maybe they mention it in Slack in passing, or they mention it in a meeting, but they don't package it up in a way that product teams are accustomed to working with the data. And so this is a framework right here. There's many frameworks that you can use, but product managers sometimes use this, product marketers do, where you just do a one-pager, like a Google Doc or what have you, where you say like the problem, you have like a hypothesis, right? And then you have supporting data. This doesn't have to be this big involved thing. It could be literally one sheet. And you could have 3 data points where you say, I talked to these 3 customers. These were their quotes verbatim about why they want the feature. And hey, here's also a little Zoom snippet, a little Zoom recording snippet of them saying with their own voice why they want the feature. And when you package it up this way, it's amazing what can happen. Product teams, product marketers and so forth really start to listen because they hear directly from the voice of the customer, and you have great access to this. Now, for this particular type of activity, I often use within Calendly our collective event type, and this allows you to bring in, say, a product manager and yourself, and Calendly can figure out what works best scheduling-wise for you and your colleague who has different availability. Okay, second tip I have for you is offering white glove service to your VIP customers. Now, you might say, that's what we do. We do that all the time. But for PLG companies, they might not be accustomed to watching you shine that way. And so this is an opportunity to really teach them about the value of it. So, for example, in some PLG companies that don't have customer success or sales, they say, hey, we're just going to really focus on making the user experience of the product wonderful, and we'll do in-app onboarding, and we'll have modals popping up and videos and so forth in the app to teach people about features and so forth and helping them get started. And that's great, right? But there are certain types of customers, you all know this, admins for the account or IT pros, particularly when you go up market in the bigger companies, who are accustomed to talking to you in customer success, right? They want to talk to a human. They like that white glove treatment. And so one of the things I recommend doing is, after the initial onboarding that you do, right, you could go into your analytics platform. So I've done this personally in the past where I've played Customer Success Pro, and I will go into something like Mode or Amplitude, whatever your analytics platform is, and I will look to see which customers aren't using a certain feature, and I will reach out to them and say, hey, we'd love to teach you about this particular feature because you paid for it, and we found that people that use this feature enjoy the most, enjoy this feature a lot, and they tend to renew with this plan if they learn how to use it. So for example, collective scheduling. I'll notice that people pay for one of our plans and that has collective scheduling and they never use it, and they're customer success pros, and it's one of the most popular features for customer success pros. And so I would look into the database to see who's using this, who's not. I'm gonna contact the people that aren't and let them know about it, okay? So for this one, I often recommend using collective scheduling to teach somebody about something. You can bring in a colleague, but another popular feature is round robin, and this allows you to be able to share the meetings with your colleagues in customer success based on your availability. This is particularly helpful, this feature, for new client onboardings, okay? So you have the same kind of onboarding you might do for all of your customers, but then it's more bespoke later down the line once they've been with you for a few months. You could really round robin the opportunities to talk to these customers using this feature. Okay, third tip. I recommend offering training webinars to your PLG customers who maybe aren't customer success managed. Okay, say that you have 1 million customers and many of them are freemium, and then you have maybe only 10% are CS managed, and they're your enterprise customers, they pay you the most. But there's this other cohort over here that you really care about that could become enterprise someday. Maybe they're right on the line, right? Or maybe they're paying for your second most expensive credit card plan. So you can offer training webinars to them because you can't offer that one-to-one bespoke customer success experience that you offer other customers. Okay, so we do this at Calendly. We have, for everybody that joins that is a product-led growth customer, we give them this Getting Started Calendly webinar. And the people that attend this webinar activate at double the ones that don't attend the webinar. And they also upgrade at double than the ones that don't attend. Okay, and this is a partnership between product marketing and demand gen, as well as the customer success team. because we do the webinar in marketing, but the customer success team, they answer a lot of the questions in the chat. So it's a great way to work together on this so that it's not a huge lift. Okay, for this one, I recommend the Calendly feature, the group feature. This allows you to be able to invite multiple attendees like in a webinar and figure out the best time that works for everybody. Okay, so thanks very much. I hope this was helpful, and a couple tips, 3 tips I gave you around how customer success teams can really play a role in leading product-led growth. Product-led growth doesn't mean no human. You have a wonderful opportunity to provide value just like you have for decades in the sales-led environment. If you'd like to learn more about Calendly, of course, we have our free plan, which many of you probably used before or been on the receiving end of, but we also have all kinds of paid features like the ones I talked about today, also workflows that send reminders before and after meeting. And we also have features for your IT department, such as, SSO, single sign-on, admin controls, and more. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you listening. My name is Jeff Hardison. Love for you to be friends on LinkedIn. And if you'd like to learn more about Calendly's paid features, feel free to reach out at calendly.com/contact. All right, Alex.
Thank you so much for that, Jeff. That was a great presentation. It seems like everyone else enjoyed that as well. So I'd like to open up the chat panel for questions for Jeff. We've got a couple of questions from the Slack channel. So what's the best way to agree on upcoming meetings or goals?
Let's see, what is the best way to agree on upcoming meetings and goals? Not sure I understand the first part of the question, the upcoming meetings, but goals, I would say, whoever asked that question, if you can add a little bit more context there, I think it would help. Not exactly sure what you're asking. If you're asking about business goals like OKRs, or you're asking about something else.
I think they mean like the meeting goals.
Oh, like an agenda. Okay. So, what I like to do is I believe that every meeting should have some type of agenda. So we actually use Asana. And if I have, like, say, a meeting that happens, every 2 weeks with the sales team or customer success team, we have this kind of standing document. It's like an agenda document within Asana. And we will have issues and solutions where you can bring up, like, here's the problem I'm dealing with. Jeff never gets back to me in time, from when I have a deadline to answer my questions. Solution, could you please be conscientious and get back to me, right? That's something you could populate it in the Asana before the meeting. There could be like topics like I want to talk about this product launch, or we're doing this, upgrade campaign. And then that allows the team to really think about the issue at hand before the meeting instead of springing it on them right before the meeting or during it. So everybody can think about it async so that when you get to the meeting, you can save the meeting time for a really juicy discussion and debate versus a readout of the agenda.
Great answer that, Jeff. So another question from Samantha. Love the one-page product report. What are some best practices to get client features requests added to the roadmap, especially when these features can lead to growth?
Yeah, so great question. What I've seen that customer success and sales people have struggled with is that they will, they might have a meeting with a customer like, oh man, this customer was really angry about us not having this feature. And they said that we promised it a year ago, and they leave and they go on to Slack and they go into like the product feedback channel. And he's like, hey, my customer's really upset. Here's the feature idea. Is this on the roadmap? And then everybody kind of groans because the product team hears that kind of feedback all the time. And it's kind of like one-off way, and it's not helpful for them. And so what I recommend doing is, avoiding doing the modern thing of just going to Slack. You can do that if that's your company's culture, but step back and try to package it up. Maybe work with the rest of your customer success team and say, like, has anybody else asked for this admin feature, for example? And your colleague's like, oh yeah, my clients, so-and-so asked for it, or my client so-and-so asked for it. Or maybe you just hold on to that request and wait till another one of your customers asks for it. And then once you have 3, and there's power in 3 or more, okay? Once you have 3 examples, put it in that one pager that I showed you. And it doesn't have to be an essay that takes you hours to write. You can literally write that within a half hour. Write the problem, a couple sentences, what you think the solution is, your hypothesis, and then those 3 little examples. And it doesn't have to be like a whole transcript. It can just be like a one sentence that the customer said that why they want it. And I've seen product teams just absolutely love that because that's what they do with their own research teams. So try that out, package it up. Don't just shoot off the one little onesie twosie request and see if it helps you.
Definitely. Also, a lot of people asking about the slide deck. So if you go into the handouts tab at the top, right next to the chat, you'll be able to download Jeff's slides there. If anyone's got any more questions, feel free to post them while we're doing this Q&A. But is there anything else you'd like to add, Jeff?
Let's see. I'm just looking at this one other question we have here around feedback. Yes, one person said here, Qualtrics offers a great product called Frontline Feedback that allows frontline reps to suggest a feature at client names. Yes, I think that is a great tool, and I've seen product managers do like a report where they pull. Same thing with Salesforce. You can often do this in Salesforce too. And what I'm arguing is that oftentimes you can help the PM see behind the numbers with a little humanity by giving the actual customer quotes and maybe a little video snippet from Zoom, which you can crop out. There's a great tool called Cork, C-O-R-Q, look it up, that allow you to like create a little snippet, a couple seconds snippet. And that really brings the customer feedback to life because it's much easier to empathize with somebody on a Zoom recording talking about the feature than it is just a little, note about a customer asked for the feature. I think that's all the questions. Really appreciate all of you having me. Thanks a lot. And those of you that are Calendly customers, really appreciate you being a customer.
Really appreciate that presentation, Jeff. And thank you to the audience. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much, Jeff.
Thank you.
Cheers.